Islamic terrorists are hunting Jews on American soil. The media is silent. They either don't care, they don't want to report it, they don't care to report it. When they do report stories of violence against Jews, they frame it as isolated incidents. Have you noticed this? The FBI just arrested Ammaad Akhtar, a 33-year-old engineer working for the EPA, for plotting to murder Jews and providing weapons to ISIS. Did you hear what I just said? A government employee with security clearance who is planning terror attacks embedded within our own institutions. Here he is. This is the 33-year-old Akhtar. Who is he? A mechanical engineer from the University of the Pacific. He was caught trying to give $400 cash, 2 loaded guns, 6 magazines, binoculars, and clothes to someone that he believed was an ISIS operative. And if that isn't scary enough, here's the most terrifying part. He was stalking a Jewish man at a synagogue in Stockton, which is, of course, Stockton, California, planning to murder him. We have his own words. I'll read it to you from the FBI, the undercover agent there. He said, "Soon, Achi," that's how you say brother, "the day will come when the head of every evil, dirty Jew and their slaves, the cross worshippers, will have their heads plucked like a chicken." Cross worshippers, that's Christians. That's believers in Yeshua, in Jesus. So here he is, according to the FBI, believing he was giving weapons to an ISIS operative and saying he wants to kill Christians and Jews. He's not the only one. 2 weeks ago, Mohammed Shahzeb Khan, we'll show you his picture as well, a Pakistani ISIS supporter, he was extradited from Canada to face charges for plotting a mass shooting at a Jewish center in Brooklyn. What was the plan? To kill as many Jews as possible. That was the plan. When was he going to do it? Or when did he want to do it? On October 7th. Why is that date ring a bell? Well, that, of course, October 7th was the day that Hamas pulled off a genocidal massacre in Israel. Back in May, Elias Rodriguez opened fire outside of the Jewish Museum in Washington, D.C. Do you remember the victims? Have their names already escaped? We have short memories. Do you remember? The 2 Israeli embassy workers, Yaron Lashinsky and Sarah Milgram. Beautiful young couple. They were about to get engaged only a week after this photo was, not after this photo, but a week after the event. They were leaving a Jewish event, and a total stranger, a deranged lunatic, here he is, Elias Rodriguez. Just to refresh your memory. Listen, watch this.
Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine!
How did you help free Palestine by murdering 2 innocent people who were walking out of a museum in Washington, D.C.? You didn't at all. Maniac. How about back in June, Mohammed Soleiman, an Egyptian Muslim in America, illegally, thank you, President Biden, who threw Molotov cocktails at a pro-Israel rally in Boulder, Colorado. Do we have the video? Go ahead, roll it. 9 people injured. Oh, we're going to watch. Let's watch for just a moment. Just remember this. Do you remember this? This feels like an eternity ago. This wasn't. This was June. Told police he wanted to kill all Zionist people, that he had been orchestrating and planning that attack, what you just saw. Molotov cocktails, firebombing Jews out for a walk just to support and raise awareness that there are still hostages in Gaza. Now, this is the serious question here. To my fellow colleagues in the media, when are you going to stop calling these incidents, which we just showed you just in a few short minutes here, isolated? They're not isolated anymore. My mom used to say when I was a kid, you are what you eat. You've probably heard your parents or your grandparents say that to you. Well, you are what you import. The Democrat Party and Joe Biden flung the gates open of America, wide open, especially for the last 4 years. But let's be honest, we've had problems controlling who's coming in the southern border for a long time. I mean, years. Joe Biden was just, it was a free-for-all. They flung the gates of America, the Democrats especially these last 4 years, wide open. Why? To try to change the demographics so that Democrats can retain power permanently. Just look at how California has been transformed from the inside. The Democrats have a supermajority. Registered Democrats outnumber registered Republicans by 1 million voters. How is there going to be another Republican governor in a state where their Republicans are outnumbered by 1 million? Pete Wilson, he ended in 1999. Yes, there was Arnold Schwarzenegger, but I wouldn't call him a tried and true rock-ribbed Republican. I don't know if you would. I wouldn't. Talks about climate change and yeah. California's been transformed. The Democrats have that supermajority. The Democrats, all the Democrat failures of Gavin Newsom, that's on you. Karen Bass, it's on you. I was born in California, married my wife, started our family in California. I have a deep love in my heart for California. It breaks my heart how poorly it's run. It doesn't have to be this way. Doesn't have to be that way. But the way the Democrats are willing to look the other way, wink, wink, excuse, pardon, violence, law-breaking, justice, lawlessness. Let's get back on topic here too. Not just the riots that we've seen, the millions, oh my goodness. The radical Islamic violence that we just showed you, that we were talking about, it's not coming from nowhere. It's rooted in Islamic theology. I'm going to give you some quotes here, okay? And this is from Mohammed Shahzeb Khan, the man we just showed you. These are from his own messages to the FBI, to informants. He said, and I quote, New York is perfect to target Jews because it has the largest Jewish population in America. Even if we don't attack an event, we could rack up easily a lot of Jews. We are going to slaughter them. End quote. Where does that kind of hatred, to not just think it, but to say it, to communicate it to someone else, where does that come from? In the Islamic texts, in the Quran, did you know Quran 560, it calls Jews apes and pigs who have been cursed by Allah. Quran 296, it says Jews are the most covetous of life and greedy. Quran 551 commands Muslims to take Jews as allies. Excuse me, not to take Jews as allies. Misspoke that, got that. The Hadith, this is the Islamic oral tradition. It quotes from Sahih Bukhari. It says the most authoritative Islamic text after the Quran. It says the hour will not come until Muslims fight the Jews and kill them. It says the Jews will hide behind stones and trees, but the stones and trees will say, O Muslim, there is a Jew behind me, come and kill him. This is not language of peace, of love, of acceptance, of tolerance, of mutual understanding. Did you hear what we just read? Did you hear anything that made it sound like good neighbors, sound like people who are good intentioned? No, look, the liberals who just voted for a radical Islamic Democrat socialist to become the next mayor of New York City, Zoran Mamdani. Speaking of short memories, my goodness, in New York, the site of the worst terror attack in American history from Islamic terror, they just elected Zoran Mamdani. And I can hear the other side saying these are just a few extremists, it's not mainstream. We just told you what the Quran says. And I want you to listen because this is what's being shared and taught in mosques in the United States. Listen.
As we're here living in the U.S., what is our role now? What is the way forward? Let me just quote for you an ayah of the Quran, and I'm going to try to encapsulate it. Allah is saying, do not obey the disbelievers. Don't yield to them. And then he gives us the process of what to do next. وَجَاهِدْهُمْ بِهِ جِهَادًا كَبِيرًا. And so make jihad against them.
Do I need to explain what jihad is? I don't think I do. You just heard it. It might make you uncomfortable. This whole conversation might make you uncomfortable. But my friends, sometimes the truth isn't comfortable. When a holy book calls people like me an ape and a pig, or my children apes and pigs, or my grandmother who survived Auschwitz. How can Jewish people feel safe? The Quran actually says that the end times won't come until Muslims kill all the Jews. How can there be peace with someone with that mindset? And if you know your Bible, maybe you're thinking, oh, Daniel, you're being disingenuous because the Old Testament has violent passages as well. The absolute, look, here's the truth. It's not the same thing. There were specific historical commands for specific times for God's people to have victory over their enemies. And God commanded specifically, this is what you must do. And they did it. But Jesus, who established a new covenant, changed everything. Yeshua. He said, love your enemies. He said, turn the other cheek. He says, blessed are the peacemakers. That doesn't mean Jesus is a pacifist. That doesn't mean we can't confront evil. Israel just did that. In 12 days, eviscerated Iran's nuclear program with the help of America. President Trump unleashing. Oh my goodness. What a moment. Islam doesn't have that same transformation or even that transformative power. The violence, those commands, those are eternal. The hatred of Jews is permanent, which is why everywhere Islam spreads, Jews flee. Where is our government in all of this? Where was the Biden administration? I heard more talks about not rushing to Islamophobia. Islamophobia, don't rush to condemn. They're more concerned about Islamophobia than they are dead Jewish people who are being firebombed while they're going out for a walk. Mohammed Saliman, he's been in America illegally. His visa expired in 2023. What's he doing? Why was he here? Why was he in America, I should say? He should have been deported. He was. Not only was he not deported, Joe Biden gave him a work permit. The Biden administration, they gave a terrorist permission to work in America while he spent a year planning and orchestrating how he wanted to kill Jews. We are witnessing spiritual warfare. Let's put it all out there. Ephesians 6:12, it says, we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against spirits and principalities. I believe that. Psalm 83, it describes exactly what we are seeing today. It says, come, they say, let us destroy them as a nation so that Israel's name is remembered no more. But I got to tell you, I've read the last chapter of the Bible, Revelation. I know how the story ends. And I know in the beginning, because God made a promise in Genesis. Not more than a promise. It's commanded. It's a commanded blessing. He says, I will bless those who bless you. I will curse those who curse you. America has been blessed because America has blessed Israel. And if we reject God's promise, and if we pull back our support for God's covenant nation, which people on the left and on the right and in the middle we're seeing happening right now, wouldn't it only make sense that God would then also pull back his promises to us? Whether you accept the truth about who Yeshua is, it actually doesn't matter. It doesn't change anything. It's an immutable fact. He is who he says he is, who he claimed to be, the Son of God. He received worship. He performed miracles. He said, I'm going to die. I will rise from the grave. He did it. You have free will. You don't have to choose it. But the Bible says that he hopes not one should perish, not one. If you've never considered who Jesus is, will you do that? When it comes to America, America gets to choose who is let into the country. That decision is America and America's alone. And we're seeing more people speaking like this.
What is your duty as a member of the Ummah now that you are also an American? Mm-hmm. It is our physical jihad duty to fight the entire earth.
If you've never considered Jesus, Yeshua, yeah, you may feel like you have time. But I'm here to tell you that time is running out. From Israel, for the Real Life Network, I'm Daniel Cohen.